So many moms feel stuck and isolated, like they've got to keep it all together and can't say how hard it really is. On Let's Get Real, we talk about the real stuff, motherhood, mental health, and everything in between, so you don't feel like you have to carry it alone anymore. Because in order to heal, we have to get real. If you're feeling overwhelmed, grab the Overwhelmed Moms Guide. It's totally free and made to help you feel like yourself again. The link is in the show notes. Let's jump in. A couple of months ago, I got to see a friend who I hadn't seen in several years. So we had this time where we were catching up. She knew that I had gotten my master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and I was also sharing how almost 2 years ago, I got my certification in life coaching. So she was asking me how my business was going, how basically if I was seeing clients one-on-one, and I started sharing with her how that was the original plan. Like that was what I thought was going to happen. But because of my health issues over the past 5 years, the plans had changed. As I started to talk to her more of what had happened and where I was at now, what I was doing now, she was like, you have to share this on your podcast. And at first, I had this little inkling like, oh, I didn't even really think about it. Okay, maybe this could help someone who finds themselves in a similar situation. But even bigger, after that, I really felt fear. Like I felt like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And as I started peeling back some of the layers, trying to figure out why, like why would I not want to share this? I realized that there was some fear of judgment, fear of what people may think, and there was also shame. And shame is a beast, especially regarding my health issues over the past several years and trying to make progress and pursue things that matter to me. I've really butt up against shame. The shame tapes that have been going on have just been trying to just basically tell me that there's something wrong with me. Like there's something inherently wrong with me because through this process of dealing with all these health issues, I've come to face my humanity. And I've come to realize that I am a very, very limited human. That's been very difficult for me to accept. It's taken quite a while to get to this place of acceptance, and I still struggle with that. Because growing up, I was a competitive gymnast. I was also the oldest child. It was kind of like there were these messages that I just had to push through. Like I had to keep pushing through. I had to keep going. I had to take on a ton of responsibility. Like there were these spoken and unspoken expectations and pressure. And so over the past 5 years, as I've tried to take all this on and I have tried to push through, I have come to face and find my body giving out on me and finding no matter how much I want and desire something, and no matter how much I try to will my way to make it happen, my body has a different idea and a different story of what's going to happen. Like I could not override my physical limitations. And so this is what I want to talk about today as far as how our plans, we can make plans and it's a good thing to make plans. But what do we do when those plans fall apart? What do we do when life happens? How do we adapt and adjust and make the changes needed so that we can keep going and not get stuck in the stubbornness of trying to do something our way, or we get stuck in feeling helpless and like a victim and just thinking there's nothing at all that we can do? Because I have experienced both of those sides, the stubbornness and the feelings of helplessness and wanting to just sit down and give up. So I want to dive into this a little more today. So when I was talking to my friend about my original plans, like this desire that I had to want to build a business, do something that really mattered to me, where the original plan was that I was going to create a coaching business where I could meet with clients one-on-one weekly. And then when it came time to trying to do that, I was faced with my body kind of giving up on me. Like I would wake up with so much uncertainty because some days I would wake up with debilitating migraines. Some days I would wake up just with hardly any energy, and the little bit of energy I had went to taking care of my kids. Some days I'd wake up with extreme brain fog. It felt like I could barely string several sentences together. And in the midst of that, what was happening was I would create these plans to the best that I could, like brain fog and all, exhaustion and all. I would try my best to say, okay, the night before, okay, tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work on. This is what I'm going to build and grow my business. Then I would wake up and the plans would change because I was like, there's no way. I physically am not able to. I mentally don't have the capacity. I'm not able to think through this. I don't have the energy to be able to put my hand to anything more than feeding my kids, taking care of them. And in that, there was so much frustration and anger. Like I had so much anger because I felt like this was a waste. Like I felt that my experiences, my education, my background was being wasted because I had this idea and these set of plans that I eventually started to cling so tight to and trying to force and will these things to happen, really because I felt so out of control in these other areas of my life. And I thought, surely I could control this. Surely I could build this. But with enough of having these days, weeks, months string together where I had so much unpredictability and instability, like I did not know what would happen day to day, which was so frustrating because it was very much out of my control. And with enough of those days strung together, I realized that I couldn't build this business that I wanted to. I wouldn't be able to consistently show up and meet with clients. If I had planned on meeting Susie every Tuesday at 10 a.m., I actually didn't know if that would happen. I didn't know if my body would let me. I didn't know how much pain I would be in. I didn't know how exhausted I would be. I just didn't know. And it was such a wrestling match to be able to get to the place of laying these plans down and really laying these dreams down. And in that, there was a ton of grief. And the grief still comes because it's still really hard to accept where I'm at, but I've gotten a lot better and I've been able to get to a place of seeing the benefits of surrendering and like laying these dreams down, laying these plans down. But in the grief, I remember just talking to God and just telling him how angry I was that all these experiences, all these, like my educational background, like that it was just wasted. And I was asking him, I just said, like, can you please show me another way to use these things? Because I really want some redemption. I really want to see purpose in the pain, like the painful things I've experienced. I want to see you be able to actually use these things and redeem them in a way that can work with my limitations, with my new set of limitations, with my health issues, with the unpredictability. I don't want to just sit in the stands. Like, I believe, you've called me into the game and to stay in there, but I don't know how to do that now. And it was through this process of being able to get honest with God and honest with myself, to name the pain and to honestly say how angry I was, how sad I was, how much I wish this didn't happen. I know I've shared this in previous podcasts. I have had a couple pseudoaneurysms. I've just wrestled so much with this, like, this happened to me. I never asked for this. Like, I really wish I was 100% healthy. And I made a lot of progress, but I'm not there. And so in this time of taking all of these things to God and really trying to acknowledge the pain, the hurt, and give it to him and start asking for another way. Like, just show me. Like, there's got to be some redemption. That was previously, like, the one-on-one coaching, that was like the only thing I could see as far as how this could work. So I was like, how could you possibly do something else with so much instability and unpredictability? Well, then I felt like God was putting this podcast on my heart. And I started to get excited, but I was also really nervous because honestly, I've wanted to start a podcast for the past 7 years. But for many different reasons, whether it's been life happening, having young kids, at that time, I had this like mountain of unprocessed trauma that I really needed to deal with. That was just kind of getting in the way. Like, it was these roadblocks that kept me from being able to create and put anything out into the world. So when he started putting this on my heart and leading me to start the podcast, I just felt cautiously optimistic. I was like, okay, that I've desired this for a long time. And I actually had tried several times to do this, but for one reason or another, it never made it out. Like, I could never get it off the ground. And I told him, I'll just try. I will trust you. I will try. And so it's been a step at a time. And initially, I was like, hey, I'm going to aim for publishing one podcast episode a week. And I didn't know if I would be able to do that. I was like, I actually have no idea if what's going to happen. I don't know if I'll be able to keep that up. Like, I don't know how ambitious that is. I don't know, considering my circumstances, or, hopefully I'm in a better place now with my health and I've been making a lot of progress. I don't know if that's going to be sustained. I have no idea. But let's just try it. And it's been really cool to see how just saying yes to God and being willing to do that, willing to grieve what I long for, willing to bring all of this to him and just say yes and be like, okay, I'm going to take the next step. I'm going to follow you. It has been really neat to see how he's been redeeming my pain and how he's had a plan all along. But I had to get to a place of being open-handed in order to be able to see what other opportunities there were and what else he was leading me to. So being able to record this and pre-record it and being able to say, hey, I'm going to attempt to make another episode on Tuesday, but if I'm not feeling well, if I have a migraine, if I'm in pain or whatever, like, I know I could change that to another day where I'm feeling better. And even this podcast was actually supposed to shoot last week, but I had so much brain fog and exhaustion. I was like, I just have to push this to another day. And it's been really cool to see how, I'm not 100% healed yet. And Lord willing, I will be, but I don't know. That's not guaranteed. But even in the midst of not being completely healthy, like, God is still using and bringing all these things together. And he's shown me another way. And he's shown me a way that still works with the uncertainty of my body and my limitations and the health issues that I've been dealing with. I bring this up because I just wonder if you have found yourself in a similar situation. I wonder if you have made plans and you really desired to do certain things. You had these dreams and hopes, but then you found that the plans fell apart and it left you feeling really disappointed, maybe discouraged, angry or sad, and grieved. I really want to encourage you in this, and I want to speak to you because the reality is that does happen to just about everybody, if they're willing to be honest. And it sucks. Like, it's really hard to navigate that. It's really hard to work through, plans and hopes deferred and things that don't end up working out how we thought. I don't want to minimize the hurt because it's really important we acknowledge that. I just wonder if you found yourself in that situation where things didn't work out how you wanted. And in the process of letting go, you ended up being led to a place that was new and different, and things happened and unfolded in a way that you didn't expect. And somehow, sometimes, some of those plans ended up turning out better. And in the midst of getting there, there's grief, there's hurt, there's pain. And if you found yourself in that situation and you're in the place of being like, yeah, this sucked. Like I really longed for this thing and it didn't happen. But I chose to trust God. I chose to pursue another way, another opportunity. And things turned out very different than I thought, but they're actually better. And in that, there's a mixture of emotions, right? There's a mixture of the sadness of what could have been and isn't, and then the joy of what is. I'm a recovering black or white thinker and all or nothing thinker, either or. And so learning to live in the gray and hold both, like both of those sides of these emotions, of being able to honor the loss and honor what you hoped would be but isn't, and have joy and even gratitude for what is. It's possible to hold both. And I just want to encourage anyone, you might be in the midst of the disappointment. You might be in the midst of having this sense of like everything's lost. Like I have so much loss, so much pain, so much heartache because I had these plans and I thought life was going to go a certain way and it didn't. I really want to speak to you and just encourage you, if you find yourself in that place, that isn't where your story has to end. That's not where you have to end up. And even in that place, if you're sitting in the mud, that is still part of the purpose of where you're at. Because I know I've often felt like if I'm not on the mountaintop and I'm in the mud, I'm in the thick of like drudgery and like, what is the point? Like that is actually very purposeful in my story and in the journey I'm on. And so I just really want to encourage you, if you're there, and say, you know what, like that you don't have to stay there. And it's okay if you need to take a breath. You need to sit down and you need to catch your breath and just say, I need a break. That's okay. Because I also know, like, when we can hand things over and just say, God, like, just lead me out, He will. And it's just one step at a time. It's a day at a time. And we don't have to see the big picture. We don't have to try and make new plans and figure out what this new thing is going to look like, because we can't possibly see how it will all happen. But we literally can just grab God's hand and just follow His lead and follow Him a step at a time, leading us out of the pit. Because I've been in the pit and it's really rough, but we don't have to stay there and we don't have to be stuck. I have personally been helped by so many people, like so many people who have championed me and encouraged me and just helped me to keep going and have really stuck with me in the mud, in the pit. And it's because of them that they've helped me find a way out. And I've, with God and with other people, I've been able to get out of the pit. And sometimes I fall back in and I need help again to get out. But I really want to be that person to champion you and to remind you, you are not alone. Because that is one of the lies of the enemy that he used to tell me all the time, and he'll still come at me with. But with enough therapy and group work, I've come to realize, no, I'm not alone. There are many, many, many of us out there, and you are not alone. I see you, and I would actually really love to hear from you. Genuinely would love to hear from you. And so if you find yourself in this place where you're like, yeah, my plans haven't worked out, and you may be in the middle of grief, and I do want to say that it's so important to grieve, because I have tried in the past to deny that and to just pretend like I didn't get hurt by these plans falling apart. And I'm just going to try to jump over the pain and get to gratitude. and be like, okay, God, what's the gift that you have in this for me? But the thing is, God's like, I want to be with you in the pain and in the hurt. We need to name these things first before we can get there. Because otherwise you're living in denial of how much you've been hurt by this. And that unprocessed grief is the thing that will keep us stuck. And so I do want to encourage you. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. And I'm with you. And so if you find yourself here, if you find yourself even on the other side where you're like, yeah, I was in that place of the pit. I was in that place of having my plans fall apart, but I'm actually now in this new place. And I've seen how God has just given me new plans, new hope, and he's done something that's just incredible. And it's different than what I ever thought. I would love to hear from you too. So if that's you, please contact me. You can contact me on Instagram at Jenna Burris. That's Jenna with one N, JenaBurris. Or you could email me, jenna@jennaburris.com. Again, Jenna with one N. I'll put those in the show notes, but I genuinely mean that. I would really love to hear from you and champion you and encourage you and just hear your story, because it matters and you matter. And I want you to know that you're not alone. I see you and I really care about you. Until next time, friend, I cannot wait to talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to Let's Get Real. If you've been feeling stretched thin, stuck in survival mode, or like you've lost yourself in motherhood, I made something just for you. It's called the Overwhelmed Mom's Guide, and it's totally free. Inside, I walk you through simple steps to help you reconnect with who you are, find a bit more breathing room in your day, and start to feel like you again. You can grab it now. Just click the link in the show notes. You don't have to keep doing this alone. Let's take the next step together.